And welcome back. Time for our Capitol Report with CapitolBeatOK.com's Pat McGuigan. Pat, Governor Fallin recently introduced her income tax reduction phase-out plan during her State of the State. It's been widely supported by conservatives. What are they saying about it? What are detractors saying about this?
Conservatives love it. It's bold and visionary. The devil's in the details, as Brian Bingman, the Senate President Pro Tem, has said. From $0 to $30K a year, no income tax right off the bat. $30K to $70K, 2.25%, and $70K and up, 3.5% compared to the current 5.25%. So this is high drama. This is big stuff, and it's got people excited. Michael Carnuccio, the president of OCPA, which has promoted the idea, is real excited, says it was a remarkable day last Monday for economic freedom, Reagan's birthday, which we've talked about previously. Senate President Bingham is very supportive. They're being a little careful and reserved in the Senate because there's so many competing plans. He says they're going to look through all of them, and there's some worry about short-term revenue hole. Speaker Steele, very enthusiastic. He said it was strategic, bold, responsible. And the responsible part is the taking a long time to phase it in. On the flip side, Scott Inman of Del City, the House Minority Leader for the Democrats, was very tough. He was the toughest, I think, critic. Called it Washington-style budgeting. He said he could not understand the governor's rationale for the plan. He accused her of fuzzy math. And these are kind of national buzzwords that you've heard in past budget battles. David Blatt, Oklahoma Policy Institute, says that it would create a huge and permanent budget hole, and it doesn't address the needs of fairness and adequacy in terms of funding. The assumptions of the critics, the latter two, is kind of what is, growth in what is, whereas what the conservatives are proposing and the governor is proposing is government will continue to grow, but at a less dramatic rate than in recent years.
Well, we'll be watching that one for sure. Let's turn to the national stage. Rick Santorum, surprisingly, sweeping Colorado, Missouri, Minnesota. Does this halt Romney's momentum?
I think that is a good question, and I think that halt is too strong a word. I think it slows Romney down. You got to remember, he still has a 40-delegate lead. Now, it's very early in the process, but he's well ahead. Here's what you've got coming up. Santorum has won 4. Romney has won 2, but one of them was Florida. Gingrich has only won one primary, South Carolina. You start adding the delegates and you're looking at what is immediately ahead. Today, Saturday, in Maine, there's a caucus. Then there's not anything until late February, Arizona and Michigan on the 28th. Then Washington has a caucus on the 3rd of March, and then Super Tuesday, which is us. It doesn't halt his momentum, but there's a reason that Rick Santorum came to Oklahoma this week, because he's hoping, in the tradition of the late Dewey Bartlett, to, even though he's a Catholic, get some good Southern Baptist votes on the basis of shared values.
All right. And water rights, this issue heating up, simmering. Is it going to come to a boil? I guess that's
I love it.
Yeah. Puns. But we've seen the back and forth this past week between the governor and tribal leaders. What is the next step in this?
I'll tell you, this is it is intensifying. I knew it would eventually. It began with a walk up to the start of the legislative session. The governor saying to the tribal leaders, the Chickasaw and Choctaw, withdraw your lawsuit. Governor Anatubby, Chief Pyle, the Chicks and the Chocks, as people say popularly, are saying, we can't withdraw the lawsuit, we can't dismiss it until we have mediation that's going to lead to an ending. They want what they call a reasonable resolution. They put out 7 essentials that touched most interests except one.
Yeah, the Caddo.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens with them? They're the original inhabitants of this land.
They're the original inhabitants of the area of Sardis Lake and the region around there. I've been writing on this for a long time. Aboriginal rights, the Caddo believe, and I think it's a reasonable proposition, trump fee simple rights or treaty rights. The Caddo believe they're an indispensable party to the negotiations and the litigation. They're a poor and small tribe, so they haven't jumped into the lawsuit, but that might change. Stay tuned.
We will. All right, and we know you'll continue to follow it. And you can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day. So you think that